get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, and
Kerry Smith.
Giving you all late breaking news of last week, wrapping it all up, giving you the real information, exposing the fake news, helping Donald Trump to make America great again. And I've got a crazy split screen right now that's at, it's at an angle. Why would the default for split screen be a freaking angle? Come on. Oh, my goodness. If you've been with us for the last hour, you know that we've been working diligently on the sound issues. Please, everybody, crush the hearts if the sound is coming through loud and clear. I appreciate it. We got Kerry Smith out in Las Vegas right now, and I am in the new underground bunker with the brick wall in Cincinnati. So, Kerry, how you doing out in Vegas?
I'm doing awesome. I'm glad we finally got this thing up and running. I know, there's going to be some growing pains because of the move and everything like that. And of course, I'm kind of out here sort of on semi-business, semi-vacation. As you guys have seen in my scopes, I am really trying to bird dog this investigation. Since there's a lot of people that have been reporting on Vegas, these citizen journalism, types that are doing stuff and have been doing this for long before I came this week, I'm kind of trying to tie up all the loose ends. You guys saw that I went to Tropicana, and I actually went to the very spot where the person with the video camera was that videotaped the SWAT team, I think is what some people are now saying it was, that went through Tropicana. I also walked around the place, everywhere that has been talked about in Vegas. I have done, and I've even gotten an awesome interview with one of the bus drivers who was tasked to take a whole bunch of injured people away from the Route 91 arena, or I should say, it's not an arena, it's an event center, I guess, and took him to safety, and he was touted as a hero and all that kind of stuff. So I had a really extended interview with him, and that was great, and that's what I'm doing out here.
Awesome. That is incredible. Well, folks, we've got all kinds of information, and we've got to go through this real quick. Please be patient with us if it seems like we're going too fast. We've got the ADD going tonight. There's no definite about that. Don't even have the medication in hand. And we got the tax bill that's passing, that's going through the House, the Senate, and now the special counsel is signed and dated, cross T's, dot the I's. Donald Trump fired up about that. Mueller investigation, Russia, still ongoing. The coup, as reported by Kellyanne Conway, and Fox News is now getting a lot of heat and a lot of flack, allowing Kellyanne Conway to call it the coup. Folks, when you get done with this show, you're going to realize how much of a freaking coup we're in right now. It's unbelievable.
Right. Are you saying that she's accurate?
Absolutely. I think Kellyanne Conway is 100% accurate.
All right. We'll be talking about that, huh?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Folks, if something sounds loud, then just put it up on the message board, and I'll catch it. Got a lot of fake news that we're going to report on tonight. A lot of fake news. Roy Moore, just a little tidbit. We'll put that one to bed just to kind of wrap it all up. Put a nice little red bow on it for Christmas and walk away. We've got real news that you definitely have to hear. It has to do with the chief of the acting ICE chief. He came out and had some things to talk about that you will not, I promise you will not hear on any mainstream media whatsoever. Net neutrality. I talked about it in the scope earlier this week, and I'll just run right over it real quick because Dingleberry, which is the guy late night comedy show, and Colbert, Colbert,
Colbert.
he weighed in on net neutrality like he knew what he was talking about. Looks like an absolute fool. New York City bomber. That really happened this week.
Gosh, it seems like it's been buried already.
Right. No, it definitely has been buried. Well, it's buried because he's connected to ISIS and Islamic terrorists.
Subway bomber.
Yeah, the subway bomber. And, this wasn't a story, but I threw it out there just because I'm so irritated with all this racism. But did you hear about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? I guess it's Meghan Markle.
Well, she's I guess of mixed race, multiracial. I don't know what they're calling it these days. So yeah, you're saying that there's new news?
No. Here's the thing. Omarosa was she quit. Omarosa quit this week. Carrie, you actually met her, and
Yes.
she, for as much as I've known, she's pretty much. I'm not making it an issue about her skin being black. She is. So that's why I'm going to bring this up. Okay. She quit, amongst other reasons, and she talks about it, and it has to do with her skin color, which I never saw that. Did you ever feel that from her when you met her?
Well, the thing about Omarosa is that her reputation precedes her, right?
Right.
So I was actually scared to death to talk to her the first time I met her because I thought that she was going to be a handful. She seemed like a high-maintenance person in her shows. I'm not saying how she is in real life because I don't know, but in the shows, she just comes off as like this really high-maintenance, hard to get along with, always looking for drama or maybe to cause drama. If drama's not there, she'll make it happen type of person.
Wow.
And so I was very intimidated when I first got a chance to meet her. And then when I did, I started talking to her. She was so pleasant and really, she had this inviting look on her face. Like she was really genuinely interested in that we were there and that we were talking to her. And she wanted to know what we were saying. And she was a good listener. And I'm just like, wow, this is not the woman or I should say, that has been portrayed on TV. So, who knows? I mean, you got to play the game, and I'm sure she seems like she's been the master at the game. And what are you saying, that the reports are now that she got fired because she's black?
No, she wasn't fired. She quit, and here's why she quit. This on Nightline. I guess it's a show. It's a night show, whatever. So this clip right here, Omarosa goes live to tell people how she felt in the Trump administration and what it was all about. And I hate to
Brian,
say...
Before you go into that, let me back up a little bit. Since I said fired, I think it's important to point out that for the first 24 hours after it was reported that she was no longer on the White House, the reports were that she had been fired in absolutely dramatic fashion and that she was physically dragged out of the White House by Secret Service. All of the mainstream media people were saying this, all the fake news, the CNNs, all these people.
Was that before or after Trump removed the bust of Martin Luther King?
Right. So it's interesting, in fact, that now the mainstream media is accusing Trump and the administration of leaking that information on purpose in order for them to report fake news, because it turns out she comes out and says, I wasn't fired, I wasn't dragged from the place, and then all of a sudden we have these conflicting reports, and then the fake stream media started calling her a liar. Are you making this up? What's the truth, and why are you changing your story? And then after all of that, the Secret Service themselves on Twitter, I'm talking the actual blue check mark Secret Service official Twitter handle, said reports of us dragging her out of and physically removing her from the White House are false.
Dude,
so
what? I said, tell me, this feeds into the whole narrative that we're in a coup. We are under a coup. There's no question about it. Why would you start a race war against the sitting president? What? Why?
I don't know. Well, did you have a clip that you were going to play?
We got a clip right here. And
sure.
I know what it's like to be the only black person at the table. What was that like for you, to sometimes be the only minority sitting there at a table?
At times it was very difficult. I worked with 30 assistants to the presidents. We all answer to General Kelly. And we have our morning senior staff meetings with General Kelly, 30 of us in the Roosevelt Room. and I would look to my left and look to my right, and the only people who were there were folks that didn't look like you and I. There was a lack of diversity that I will acknowledge. And at times it was very lonely because majority of them were white men who had their own agendas. Many of them had never worked with minorities, didn't know how to interact with them. So at times they would say very little, unless it was policy-driven or decision-driven or there was a presidential
What does
action.
she want them to say?
I didn't have a whole lot of conversations with many of them. On the other hand, there were some who became very great friends. And so it has been very, very challenging being the only African-American woman in the senior staff.
And so Donald Trump tweeted out to Omarosa, thank you so much for all your hard work and best wishes. Have a great life. I mean, he was very nice, very cordial. What is this that if you have this feeling when you're around some group of people, and I say I'm a white guy and I'm around a group of 5 or 6 black guys, if I've got issues with the fact that they're all black and I'm all white, apparently that's my issue. I don't get this.
So. I mean, I guess you could look. I'll play devil's advocate real quick. You could certainly say that, hey, I didn't feel ostracized in this group of people where I'm the only person of my skin color until I noticed that they didn't seem interested in engaging with me. So I don't know. That would be the devil's advocate way of saying it. I will tell you this, based on the audio you just played, I'm very disappointed. It's the first time I heard that. I'm very disappointed that she went down that road. She's smart. She's a very, very smart woman. She's got to know that this is absolutely playing into the narrative that the left want to do. Why is she going down that road? It's a big stab in the back to know that this is the narrative. It's not a stab in the back. It's not true. In fact, she has said the opposite during the time that she was working for Trump. When I met her, she was, I believe, what was it, the women's movement or something like that? Women's empowerment. So when I met her, she came to Cincinnati. She was with Laura Trump, and she was with Diamond and Silk.
Oh,
they were there.
Right.
Yeah, and Katrina Pearson was there. And I met all of them.
Speaking about Katrina Pearson, she's other than white, she's a black woman.
Black, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and I didn't know she was black because she had been on TV a bunch at that point, and she has like porcelain skin. It's pretty light colored.
Yeah, but when we met her at the Trump, when we were hanging out with her at the Trump Tower, the Trump Hotel downtown in D.C., right. It was.
But I met her the same day that I met Omarosa. And at that women's empowerment thing, she made a big deal about how she is a black woman and that it's strong evidence that Trump is not a racist because he has no problem with her color and all this kind of stuff. So she, there was a big thing for her to point that out, and rightfully so, because it counteracts this fake narrative that Trump is somehow a racist, which they never said about him after he became a Republican nominee for president.
Right. No, absolutely. If you can hold your mic off your shirt, it's kind of rubbing a little bit. But when we met Katrina Pearson and we were hanging out with her in the Trump lounge right there in the main foyer, we were having drinks and talking and chit-chatting. The crowd that began to summons was predominantly all white people.
Yeah.
But
right.
Katrina pretty much ran that whole group. You could tell.
Yeah, she didn't have a problem with it. You understand too, Omarosa grew up in Youngstown, inner city Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh.
And maybe I don't know. I don't want to speak on her behalf, but maybe she just doesn't feel comfortable if she's the only black woman in the room or whatever. I don't know. I will tell you this. I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to embarrass anybody if it ever gets back to them. But I've met and had friendships with white guys who grew up in total farm country, middle of Ohio.
Some hill jacks, some farm rednecks.
And you know what? And you wouldn't even know it just talking to them until you find out they interacted with a black guy or a black woman. This is like the first time they've ever seen a person of color in their life, and you could tell they're really uncomfortable. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's kind of the issue with Omarosa. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm just really disappointed that she hasn't moved on from that, if that is her issue. If she's trying to speak like this because she's angling for herself by trying to put pressure on her former employers, on Trump himself, to try to bring race into this issue, that's just really disappointing, extremely disappointing.
I mean, what's her next angle? I mean, obviously she's gonna probably could pursue a career, whether it be in media, whether it be somewhere else. She's gonna have to do something for the rest of her life.
She has the voice and the intelligence to definitely do that, but it just, I don't know. I think it hurts her brand when she, after all she said and all she's done. I mean, was she even being honest with anything that she was saying as a member of the Trump administration? When now that she's gone, she sounds like a dumb lib. Let's be honest.
No, and that's how I felt too. I really did. I felt that she was being disingenuous because during the entire presidential campaign, she was talking great about Trump, and now all of a sudden, when her time is run a course, I don't know. I'm upset about it.
Typical. It's like when you're dating a girl and she's kind of, not very polished, and you're going to dump her.
Right.
And everything's all nice, and she's nice and she loves you, or maybe she likes you or whatever, and you dump her, and now all of a sudden it becomes this giant dramatic thing where, she's screaming all these obscenities to you, and basically it's an emotional outburst because things didn't go your way. And I kind of feel like after listening to that audio, that's exactly what she's doing. She's doing it in a very elegant way. She's very calm and talking about it very calmly and nicely, but it's an emotional outburst.
Yeah.
There's no reason to start calling out that the Trump administration or Trump himself is somehow has a diversity problem. It's a meritocracy, all right? The reason she was hired in the first place is because Trump thought that she belonged there. She's a very smart woman. She's very ambitious. She, the way she got onto The Apprentice was hardcore. She actually told us the story of how she got selected for The Apprentice. She basically went in there and gave him attitude and said, I came all the way from Youngstown and I don't need this and I don't need you guys. You guys can all go to hell, and I'm better than these people. You can sit here and blah, blah. She just gave him big attitude. And she said that Trump said, "Who is that woman? I want to see her again." And then it just kind of went from there. And that's how she got on. So I don't know. I think that for her to be on that board, in that room, at the highest levels, and because she doesn't see, very many others that are also black, that somehow it's a lack of diversity. I mean, you're there, I mean, what? Maybe she didn't think she belonged, and she was looking at it from an outsider. Is that what it is? I mean, if you're in the room as a black woman saying that there's no black people in here when you're a black person yourself, it's kind of like you're looking at it from an outsider's perspective. Maybe mentally she felt like she didn't belong. I don't think that Trump thought that. I think that he thought that she was really smart. So
right, and obviously qualified. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the room. I mean, seriously, right?
That's the thing about a meritocracy. If it's a meritocracy, it is what it is. I mean, look at the women's empowerment thing. Diamond and Silk, two black women. Katrina, she's a black woman, even though she had to tell me that before I knew it.
Right.
And Omarosa, and it's just like, Burnell too. I forgot about Burnell. She was there. She was at the women's empowerment. I mean, that was actually lacking in diversity for its lack of whiteness, and the only white woman there was Laura Trump. So, but you didn't hear anybody complain about that, and rightfully so. We shouldn't complain about it. It's a women's empowerment thing. They wanted to find the best, smartest, brightest women, and it turned out to be that group of women, and certainly the most entertaining too. The people that you want to go see, they were. It was like a star-studded lineup. I had them all. It was great. It was fun, and nobody was wearing their skin color on their sleeve, other
Right.
than to point out that look, Trump's not racist.
Right.
So.
No. I'm really disappointed in her and the situation that we have at hand right now, where for the last 8 years, Obama has set back race relations probably about 40 to 50 years. And this we don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need somebody else coming out saying something that's probably not true, or not even that it's not true. It's just that you're saying stuff that people are going to take. CNN's taking this. MSNBC's taking this. They're going to run with it. You're going to say, see, I told you, they're racist up in there. I know they are. And I'm just like, come on.
Let me finish up by saying this. Was it really about Omarosa, or was it about the Trump administration and the Trump movement and the Trump presidency? Because if it was about the movement, if you feel like you are a participant in the MAGA movement is bigger than Trump. You're always going to defer to advancing the movement itself. Because one day Trump, after 8 years, Trump will no longer be president. We don't want to lose the principles that make America great again just because Trump's gone.
Right.
Here we are with Omarosa getting fired, and now
quitting. She
I'm
said,
sorry,
quitting. She quit.
I'm still stuck in the original reporting. You got to realize I've been stuck here in Atlantic City, or I'm sorry, in Las Vegas, kind of quarantined, if you will. But the point is that here she quits, and now all of a sudden she's saying things that she knows good and damn well are going to be used against her, and used against the entire Trump movement and Trump himself, because that's what they want for the narrative. So it seems to me that it's all about her, and she's trying to do it for her advancement because, what do? False allegations, hang it over their head, hang it on them like an albatross around the neck, and get them to, it's pretty much like coerce them to, I don't know, give her a severance package, maybe let her back in or whatever. I mean, it's really disappointing. I can't stress that enough. So hopefully this gets brushed to the rug, and if she continues going down this route, I mean, we're just going to have to campaign against her as somebody who's just a completely self-centered, lack of class type of person. So hopefully she knocks it off so she can bow out with grace.
All right. So, and folks, if this is the first time you listen to us, this is Smith Radio, Military Veteran Talk Radio. We don't necessarily talk about military. However, Carrie Smith, my cousin, was in the Marine Corps during the 90s. I was in the Air Force during the 90s. And he and I go back and forth, and we have, we've just got this thing where we talk about politics, talk about life, talk about things just in general, and we come together with it. And thought experiments, whatnot, it comes out right. And the biggest thing that came up today, at least today, that I was approached with earlier today, was the tax bill. And a lot of people don't really understand what's going on with it, or don't understand why, if the House passed it, the Senate passed it, what the hell's still going on with it. And apparently, not apparently, but it needs to go through a council, and they need to all sign off on it, and everybody needs to dot the I's, cross the T's. I was really upset this week with Little Marco Rubio.
God. Again?
Because he came out, I will not vote for this unless I get more child tax credits. We need to up the tax credits. Oh, he didn't speak like that. We need to up the tax credits. We really need to up them. And so, just as Rush Limbaugh pointed out, and it's true, Marco Rubio wanted to show his constituents that as he's out there, I've got something to do with this. I said we need more tax. And I honestly think that he probably knew that there were going to be more tax credits. And that's why he came out and said, I need more tax credits. Lo and behold, there's more tax credits for child tax credits. I'm like, come on, man. But anyways, GOP chairwoman Ronna McDaniel tweeted out, and Donald Trump retweeted her, which I thought was pretty awesome. And this was her tweet: real Donald Trump is the Paycheck President. That is
interesting.
yes, and that is a website. Go to paycheckpresident.com. He is the Paycheck President. Learn how the tax bill will put more money in your pocket, and how to contact Democrats who are trying to stop it. Paycheckpresident.com. When you go to that website, you can pick your state, and so I picked our state, and it pulled up Senator Sherrod.
Oh yeah, Senator
Sherrod Brown. I put Ohio, and Sherrod Brown came up. His phone number, his fax number, his email, all his information. So go there. But something else that on this website, it says the media won't tell you the overwhelming support for the president's tax plan. And that's a fact. Everything I've been hearing all week long has been nothing but negative, coming out of the late night talk shows. They're supposed to be comedians, yet they're taking this to another political level. They will wind up like ESPN, mark my words. But anyway, so they say a majority of constituents in Florida, Indiana, Michigan, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Wisconsin, and more support tax cuts and want to keep more of their hard-earned money. Call your Democrat senator now. Urge them to do the same. Literally, liberalism, the mental disorder. How do you take a tax cut and twist it to be bad?
Well, some of them are actually saying that they're going to either not lower the taxes for middle class and lower middle class and the poor, but they may even actually raise it. They're talking about deductions. I don't know all the inner workings since I've been kind of away from all the news, but I've caught a little bits and pieces here. But they do give a pretty significant change in the corporate tax from, what was it, like 35 down to 21% or something to that effect. That's really major. And I don't know, does that sound right on my numbers, Brian? I'm not sure. I don't want to report it and be wrong. But one thing I wanted to say about lowering corporate taxes, people need to understand, and I'm sure most of the people who listen to us on a weekly basis already know this. So this shouldn't come as a surprise to you. But for those of you who don't know, I like to point this out and hear what Brian has to say about it. But you pay for corporate taxes. You pay that because the products and services that you pay for that a company produces is factored into the price of the product.
Oh, come on, Carrie, that's hogwash. They gotta come up off some tax money.
Yeah. So, for instance, if let's say, just for the sake of simplicity, let's just say that you tax a beer company 50%, and you're charging the consumer $2 for a can of beer, and you reduce the tax to 10%. Next thing you know, that beer is going to cost you about 50 cents. So, not 50 cents, but like $1 or something like that. And that doesn't take into consideration overhead and all that. But you pay more for the products that are produced by corporations who are taxed more. So they don't pay the taxes, you do. Where do you think they come up with money? Corporations don't go outside and start digging into the ground and finding money to spend. That's not how it works.
Right.
They have to sell product, or they take a loan out, and then they have to make the products to pay for that loan. And then whatever's left over, it gets taxed and then goes into the growth of that company. And if they want to continue to keep growing, or at least sustaining themselves without going bankrupt, they have to charge you enough for that product in order to pay for the damn taxes. It kind of reminds me of when I was a little kid, and I was a pretty wild child when I was a little kid. I wanted to, when I went to the grocery store with my dad, I wanted to shove the cart as fast as I could and slam it into the rest of the cart because it was loud and it sounded cool and it looked cool.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah, you damage the cart. And so he yelled at me and said, "Don't do that." And I said, "Why not? It's a metal cart. It's probably going to be fine." And he said, "You don't understand. When you do damage to those carts and do damage to the store, you're going to end up raising the prices of the groceries we have to buy." And I was like, "Oh, Yeah, I didn't think about that. So it's kind of a life lesson from
Well,
my dad as a little kid.
in the state of California, the People's Republic state of California, shopping carts have added hundreds of thousands of dollars, in Los Angeles due to the carts being abducted by either homeless people or people with entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay.
Those individuals take the grocery carts and maybe they just take them home and they leave them in the streets or leave them on the sidewalk. You can see them in alleys. You see them in back of people's yards. Or other people will take them, put plastic garbage bags in them, boil some corn, fill the cart with cooked corn, get a jar of mayonnaise and a big bucket of Parmesan cheese and jam sticks in each one of them and sell them. And they keep the cart's their business. That is their business.
So they need that cart. They need
yes.
that cart.
Yes.
Did they get their taxes lowered?
Apparently, they're not paying any taxes.
Oh, is that how that works? It's all under the table, huh?
Right. No, I was talking to a grocery store owner because all the carts out there in LA now have these special magnetic wheels on them, and they're very expensive now. He said one shopping cart costs like $300+. And they have these magnetic wheels on them, and they put these magnets in the ground. And you can see in the parking lot, on the edge of the parking lot, there's dashed yellow lines that warn you as soon as you cross over that line with a shopping cart, all the wheels lock up. But
well, how do you get to your car?
No. That's when you get past your car. You're going to another parking lot. Like you're leaving you should have parked in their lot. That's all I'm saying, man. So
okay.
I thought it was pretty ironic when one of the Utes out there in LA looked at me and told me, said, "Oh man, you just had to block down the street and those tires unlocked themselves." They eventually unlocked themselves.
Do they? They eventually unlock themselves?
That's what I don't know. That's what he said. Maybe he takes a magnet to him and unlocks them. But that's what they've had to resort to. And that's raising the price, folks. So Donald Trump tweeted out earlier today. Sorry, not Trump. This was Paul Ryan tweeted this out. The tax bill that we're passing lowers individual taxes, doubles the standard deduction, expands child credit tax, preserves the mortgage interest deduction, and lastly, the reason why all the mainstream media and the Democrats are hating on this, repeals Obamacare individual mandate.
Well, he already signed an executive order that does that, but to actually sign this into, put it in a bill that will eventually become law,
right?
That's pretty devastating to Obamacare in general. And they're trying to salvage it using propaganda. There was an article that I read probably just yesterday where they were saying that a record number of new enrollees enrolled into Obamacare right before the deadline. Yeah,
I saw that.
And I'm just like, what does that even mean? I think they said something like 2 million people were signed up. And I'm sitting here thinking, there's like 350 million people in America. And you're telling me 2 million people signed up for it? That's way less than 1% of the America's population signed up for that horrible, horrible Leviathan.
Right. I don't even know what the final numbers were, but I don't think more than a couple million real, and I put that in air quotes, real people ever actually signed up for that thing, because as far as I know, the website didn't work. So I don't know. I never went back.
Well, it was compromised. If you put in any data into the healthcare.gov database, it's already in the hands of Nigerian hackers. Just to let you know. That's all your information. It's your entire medical record. It's probably got your social security number, every single ailment you have, and that is all now. Probably all your credit card numbers, your social security checks will now be hand delivered to your local Nigerian.
Oh, how frustrating. So on some good news, on a good note, and this is what Trump has been talking about, parlaying this tax reform, parlaying that with the cut in regulations. And Maria Bartiromo, who's on Fox News, Business News, very intelligent woman, tweeted out, Trump administration in 1 year has been nothing short of excellent from an economic standpoint. Trump tweeted, I don't know if you guys saw the picture, but I know that the mainstream media was joking and laughing about it, but Trump had put on a display of what the regulations were now, 185,000 pages. And then next to that was a stack of 20,000 pages from 1960. And he had a big red tape. Yeah.
I was thinking somebody had to print that out for that display. There's, trees crying somewhere, but
I was hoping
it was like the size of a van or something.
I was hoping that it was just reams of paper, just blank paper, opened up and just stacked on top, and they'll be able to use it as printer paper, maybe.
Hopefully. You don't think they actually printed it out? You're saying it was just a representation?
I'm crossing my fingers because that don't feel right. Like, who do you send that to?
Well, Brian, you're kind of a carpenter yourself. What do they call that when you have the front of wood that looks like it's solid wood, but it's only veneer?
Yeah, veneer.
Yeah. So maybe that was just a veneer of paper, but if you were to go into that a little deeper, it's nothing. There's nothing back there. It's not the whole sheets of paper. It's just a little sliver of the front of the paper.
Right. It's like the end of the movie Indiana Jones. I don't know if you ever saw the back video of the making of, but the very, very end where they take the box that has the
Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant in it, and he's wheeling it into this enormous, forever, never-ending warehouse of like boxes, and he's just walking. Well, they showed that was just a green screen. It was all fake. It wasn't real. It's a facade.
But you're saying that probably was real. And yeah, if you look at it, it's amazing. Just to have to display that, the amount of trees that were sacrificed for that effort was remarkable, to say the least. But then they showed next to it what his regulations were slashed down to, or
that's 19. That's what they were in 1960. Trump tweeted this out. In 1960, there were approximately 20,000 pages of the code of federal regulations. Today, they're over 185,000 pages, as seen in the Roosevelt Room. And as Carrie and I have talked about this before, regulations are nothing more than unlawful laws. They're rules.
They're enforced just like laws. If you break them, you get the same exact punishment as any other law. You
go to prison.
Fine.
Yeah.
You get prison. A lot of them are fines, but you can actually go to prison for them. But they're passed by a group of unelected people. It could be a committee or some department, and they write these things willy-nilly like they're like this dictatorship or something. And it's if the founders knew that this stuff was going on in America, they probably would have wrote another right in the Bill of Rights to prevent this, I think, because the whole idea of self-government is that we elect the officials who make the laws.
Right.
You can't just change the name of the law to regulation and it'd be okay.
Right.
I mean, you're playing semantics at this point, right?
Right.
So that's just ridiculous. But you're right; it's unelected officials that are doing this to us, and that's what you see: the 180,000 pages of laws that we're calling regulations were not even written or approved or voted on or anything by elected officials.
Right. So Donald Trump promising to roll back, and this is something that we keep talking about here on the show, rolling back these regulations to pre-1960. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, that being said, if if he could if that could like, I'm a kid in a candy store thinking about this. I'm telling you, I'm beside myself. If this really happens, you are going to see an economic boom with the likes that we've never seen in a lifetime. You're going to see incredible booms in businesses, new businesses, people getting hired. I got a buddy of mine that is looking for a job right now, and I was talking to him about it this morning. I said, man, dude, you got to go on Indeed.com or go on one of those sites, whatever. I was there 4 months ago, got this job that I got now, and they're still calling me. They're still texting me. They're still calling me, and I'm in the manufacturing sector, and they're calling me. I've got new jobs. I got new leads. I got this. I'm like, damn it, man. So I started blocking these people. Well, lo and behold, Trump tweeted out about the National Association of Manufacturers, shopfloor.org, which is kind of interesting, kind of neat. They, on their website, they talk about manufacturers and the very optimistic about the chance that long sought after comprehensive business tax reform will be enacted into law. Just more than 3/4 of respondents, they polled manufacturing businesses across America, and they say 3/4 of the respondents said that they supported. So 75% of manufacturing businesses, I guess the other 25% they didn't pick up the phone, supported the current tax proposal being debated in Congress. 16% said they were unsure. So 75% thumbs up, 16% not sure. That's 91%.
That's pretty much everybody. When it comes to political, opinions and polls, that's pretty much unanimous for the most part.
Right. Especially if you're asked, depending on what the question was that was asked, depending on if they had time or they felt like it was political and they didn't really know what was going on with the question, they might have been scared. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, if you've ever had a phone call from a solicitor of anything, you're usually knee-jerk. And if you're a business, you get these calls every 15 minutes. So
yeah, I have to usually just not answer.
Right. No, absolutely. Folks, I apologize. If you keep seeing me look to my right, your left, it's because Carrie is in the office. He's on the monitor to my right, your left, which is the opposite of looking at him on the split screen. Anyways.
Oh, you messed up the split screen. Oh. So what, are you looking away from me?
So let me see if hold on. Oh, there we go. I flipped it.
Oh, there you go. So which side am I on?
So when I look at you now, you're on the correct side. Okay. There we go.
Okay. All right. I'll take it.
So hey, Carrie, how you doing? And you look to your right. No, other left. Look to your left.
This is my left.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm looking at, perfect. All right.
Okay. We're good to go.
Okay, so as shopfloor.org, National Association of Manufacturers, in general, the survey results and comments indicate that a simpler, modern tax code would help manufacturers be more competitive global market. Nearly 63% said comprehensive business tax reform would encourage their company to increase capital spending. And more than half would expand their business. 57.9% said they would expand their business. 53.8% said they'd hire more workers, while a significant proportion would increase employment wages and benefits, 48%. So half of these businesses would raise salary, would raise benefits. See, this is good times coming.
I don't know how this was asked. Maybe you can clear this up if you even know. But it sounds to me, and this is my prediction, that all of these businesses are going to do all three of those things. I think they're going to hire more people, they're going to raise wages, and they're going to expand all three of them. They don't have to pick one of those three.
Right.
They're probably going to do all three of them. I guarantee you.
Right.
Guarantee you.
And also we've talked about here already, Donald Trump said that if you buy new equipment, could be software, could be hardware, could be anything for your business. If you buy it this year, this is the first time it's ever been done, that you can take it off on your taxes this year. With that being done, businesses are buying all kinds of new equipment, hiring new people. I know we're in the busy season right now with the gold industry, and we've hired a whole bunch of new people. They'll be part-timers probably in the January, February, March. But anyways, nonetheless, we're booming. Manufacturing's booming, and they're saying that 34.7% said they would invest in the community around them, which I thought was interesting. So manufacturing optimism rose to another all-time high, Carrie. The latest Outlook survey. Now, hold on. I'm not going to give it to you just yet. Hold on. Let's go back to 2016. The first quarter of 2016, business optimism. 56% in the first quarter. That's half during Obama's reign. Then it went up. And normally they say it goes up towards the end of the year, towards the fourth quarter. Second quarter for Obama, it went up 61%, which is good. Okay, that's good. People are optimistic. Companies are optimistic. Third quarter, stayed at 61. But the fourth quarter, which they said is normal, it gets a bump, probably because of the holidays, because the fourth quarter, 77.8% under Obama. That's a pretty good bump. So Donald Trump takes office last January, and optimism jumped to 93%.
Oh, my goodness.
The second quarter, it kind of dipped a little bit. Second quarter dipped down to 89%. Third quarter kind of leveled off, held strong at 89%. And wouldn't you know it, lo and behold, the fourth quarter, Donald Trump, the record holder, 94.6% optimism out of business manufacturing.
That is close to unanimous.
They're above. Your mic's getting loose. They're above all of Trump's numbers. All of them are above the last year of Obama by far. And you know how we felt. The sentiment, you could feel it in the air. It wasn't no good. We were feeling.
You had to be close to our age to realize, to remember back at the super optimistic times that we had back in the late 90s and that kind of stuff, to have realized just how bad everybody had it. Millennials don't know, or at least especially some of the younger millennials, are completely unaware of just how bad they had it during the Obama administration. I think people had a false sense of this feeling that, well, they were blaming Bush. They said, well, Obama inherited. Listen, they were lying to you. They were lying to you about Obama inheriting some sort of a bad economy. The thing is that when it comes to these economies, they can correct themselves very, very quickly as long as free market capitalism is allowed to reign free. I don't know if it was you, Brian, that told me this, or I heard it from somebody else. I feel like I heard it from you, that during there was a stock market crash that happened before the 1928 Black whatever day it was. Black Friday, I think it was. Yeah. Black Tuesday. Or whatever. Yeah. So whatever the day it was, there was the stock market crash in 1928, which then led to the Great Depression, which went on all the way up until World War II, like pretty much the early 40s or whatever. So there was a similar and even worse crash that happened like a decade or so earlier than 1928. It was like maybe a decade or two earlier. It was worse than 1928. And like within 29. Less than a year.
Right, 29.
1929. I'm sorry. 1929. It was like less than a year that crash from previous decades recovered. Like less than a year. Completely, totally rebounded. No problem whatsoever. And it's because it wasn't tinkered with by the government.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely, 100%,
yeah,
100%.
fast forward to Obama then, and really the reason why, these crashes dragged on and dragged on and dragged on was because Obama was using it as an excuse to implement all the government policies and regulations that he would lie and say, oh, this is going to help. This is going to prevent it from happening again. This is going to boost the economy. This is going to be better. Let's do QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4, QE infinity. Let's just keep printing money. We're going to be good to go. We need to regulate all these rich people in Wall Street and all this kind of other stuff. And guess what? If Hillary Clinton had won the election in 2016, we would be in a perpetual state of depression for who knows how long, which it was the case under Obama.
Right, and they credit FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, for perpetuating the Great Depression, to creating it and making it the Great Depression. The Democrats make economic corrections. I mean, because the economy, it corrects itself, or there's a correction, and you told me about this, about 1929 stock market crash, where you could borrow. What's the word for it? You can
the margin.
Yeah, you can borrow a margin 10 times.
But like we were, talking to people about, I think it's 50% of your total holdings. So if you have let's say you have $100,000, today. If you have $100,000 in liquid assets that you could actually sell and have $100,000, you can actually borrow $50,000 and put back into the stock market, and they call that margin. And of course, if you drop below that 50%, they'll do what they call margin call. And if you're into stock markets, the most scary thing,
it's horrible.
If you are a stockbroker or somebody that dabbles in stock, the scariest phrase you'll ever hear in your entire life is margin call. Right. That's basically when your stockbroker calls up and tells you that you must sell stock at a loss in order to pay for your margin.
It's kind of like being underwater on your house, and the bank calls the loan due and says, "Hey, you're $30,000 under the value of your house. You need to come up with the money." Yeah, you got to pay
$30,000. Yeah. That's actually a perfect example of what a margin call is. So
1929. 1929, you could borrow up to 10 times.
Yeah, I think it was 10 times. So if you had $10,000,
that'll go back to $100,000. $100,000.
Well, if you had $100,000 back then, you were filthy rich.
Okay.
You were doing really well for yourself if you had $10,000 back then. So you put $10,000 in the stock market, you're allowed to borrow like $100,000 on top of that,
and put it all in the market.
Yeah, and if your stocks dropped to a point where you had less than 10 times the assets, or I'm sorry, you had less than 10% of the assets that you borrowed on, then you get a margin call. Well, you'd be bankrupt,
right?
Instantly.
And a lot of people. So in my mind, the way I put it, that is a market correction. The market will naturally correct itself when you do something so absolutely irresponsible and insane. Yet then you get the Democrats that step in. Oh, you did something so responsible, so we're going to do it the responsible thing and get crazy with it and do other irresponsible stuff.
I look at it this way, Brian, and you tell me if you agree with this. Sure, it sounds really stupid to let somebody borrow 10 times the margin, but who really is taking the risk here? Sure, Brian, if you put all of your holdings in the stock market and then borrow 10 times that, knowing full damn well that if you get a margin call, you're going to be completely bankrupt.
Right. No.
Here's the thing. The person that gave you that ginormous loan for margin is really risking losing that entire loan to you, because if you do have to file for bankruptcy, they're not going to get that money back.
No.
So I think a real true free market capitalist system would be self-regulating, because why would somebody loan that amount? That's completely crazy. So the person that loses everything, sure, that's fine. You lose everything, you got to rebuild it. But guess what? The person that borrowed or that lent that money is probably going to get it worse. I mean, think about it. Would you rather be the guy who put up $10,000 And when the $100,000 that you borrowed goes under, you lose everything. What was everything?
10
Everything
grand.
was $10,000.
Right.
Well, what about the guy that lent you $100,000?
The bank.
He lost $100,000.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't pay that back.
Right.
The guy had to file for bankruptcy. So the whole thing should be self-regulating. Everybody should know the risks, and if it doesn't work out, then your punishment is you lost your money.
Right.
Goodbye.
Right.
You go out there and you rebuild. You pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You screwed up. You learn from it, and you go back and get to work and get it back going again. That's my thing.
When I was in Hollywood, I worked for an outfit at one point in time to earn some money, and the outfit was calling accredited investors to invest in a Hollywood CGI film, in a movie. 100% speculation.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you first told me about that, I had never known. You might want to explain this to people. I just thought that the way Hollywood works is if somebody wants to make a movie, they make the movie, it gets done, it gets distributed, it gets marketed, it makes millions and millions of dollars, and that's it. But what I learned from you telling me the story is there are movies that get made that never see the light of day.
No, never.
Isn't that weird?
Oh,
So somebody goes in there and they get all these investors and they actually do the work of creating scenes. They got a plot. They got people doing lots of work for a long time. And you're saying that the whole thing gets shelved and that's it.
yeah, pretty much. If you've ever heard of the movie, the CGI breakout film, did you hear about Paul Bunyan?
Well, it sounds like something that would be a good idea. I'm surprised they haven't put that into works and made it happen. I mean, I think that a Paul Bunyan CGI movie, cartoon, Disney, whatever, would be. I think it'd make money. I think it'd make money, right?
Right. Well, and the thing of it is that it was. It's not necessarily to be a blockbuster film. They could care less. I'm trying to Google it real quick.
That's just a perk if they make it a blockbuster.
Oh, that's right. Paul Bunyan and Babe. Yeah,
Babe?
yeah. That's all it is. It's just. No, I apologize.
You actually looking up screenshots or
Yeah.
something?
No, I can't even find the film that I helped raise money for. I can't
Oh
even
my
find
God.
it.
But your
So,
scenes
but-
were made, right?
Yeah, I believe it was. I
the whole
wasn't
thing- the
around
whole-
by the time they started actually filming or doing the CGI. But here's the thing:
Okay.
we would call accredited investors, and an accredited investor is someone who has $100,000 in liquidity and has over $1 million in net worth. So you have to have $100,000 cash and $1 million net worth. You can understand that, and $100,000 in speculation, then you can understand that this is difficult to raise for. But people in Hollywood, they make money. They make movies with OPM, other people's money. They don't. Yeah. They never use their own money ever. And if you ever see somebody's name on a movie, a big famous star like executive producer, but they didn't have anything to do with the film, it's because the film people use the accredited investors' money to pay Robert De Niro to allow them to use his name and give him the title executive producer.
Well, yeah, because if Brian calls you up and says, "Hey, I got a movie coming up," they always make money. They always have a big ROI.
With DVD sales too, you know.
And or DVD sales, overseas sales, all this stuff, and ticket, box office, all this stuff. And guess who's executive producing it? Steven Spielberg.
Dude,
and then boom, that's it.
Did you have to come up off a lot of money to get his name? But my whole point is,
and there's movies out there, but there are movies out there where Steven Spielberg is listed as the executive producer, and I wish I could think of one right off the top of my head, but there are some out there that you're like, Steven Spielberg produced that?
Right.
Oh no, he was the executive
producer, high end. And I just brought that story up just because it's interesting, but it also the government got involved and said, you know what? You're not allowed speculation this high. You are not allowed to take investors who are not accredited. And we list this person, they have to meet this criteria. It's a fact. So they make rules and regulations for everything. These are all the rules and regulations we talk about, whether to protect you or not protect you. If you've got $1 million and you give it to Bernie Madoff, you get what you get. And I'm sorry.
And, I heard stories that people knew long before it went under that
yes,
it was a pyramid scheme. And the reason they knew it is because right when the markets were really getting topsy-turvy, Bernie Madoff not only stayed very, very his company stayed very, very it wasn't volatile, and also was still maintaining its upward path of profit, and while everybody else was losing their butts. That's when people were like, this is a Ponzi scheme. And they knew it for quite a few months, and people really weren't selling out at first. And then finally, when they started selling out and the money ran dry and they couldn't pay anybody else off for their investment, then the whole thing collapsed.
The network marketing venture that they started to crumble. Folks, this is the news that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And remember back during Obama's reign, they screamed and touted and yelled every day in and day out that the stock market, it's true, the stock market, and unemployment's down, and stock market, unemployment every single day. Well, this is the stuff that you're not hearing anymore. However, it is truly happening, and this is Fox News.
New record close. It's 69th under President Trump. Can you believe that? And for the year?
Everybody's done well with their 401ks. Record for the Dow, the NASDAQ, S&P. As you noted, we're seeing our 69th record close for the Dow. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not we'll break it and we'll make our own history here in 2017. Let's do it. I don't know. I'm feeling optimistic. But I will tell you, I spoke with Ted Weisberg. He said, Nicole, it's just it's going to keep on going.
There you go. The news that you don't hear anywhere else. I love it, love it, love it. The economy is doing great. Folks, and even liberals can't deny the fact that jobs are out there. Jobs are getting better. People are getting paid. You can feel it. This holiday season, you can feel it. I feel like I'm saying this every single day. You can feel
good.
Amongst other people. I mean, think back 2 years ago. To go back to 3 years ago, go back to where we were just a little ways into this show. Think back about your optimism, Carrie, and tell me how optimistic you were coming up to Christmas.
Well, I kind of forgot about it until you reminded me. Well, you said that you went back and listened to some of our old shows, and
don't do it, dude. Don't.
Well, as soon as you started telling me how dark and depressing they were, I started thinking about it, and it made sense. We were really distraught over what we were experiencing during the Obama administration. So, of course, it was like we were almost like I don't want to say Keith Olbermann because he's just vile and nasty and
he's
dishonest.
Disgusting. He's a liar. And he's a cheat.
Right.
And I think he said he's going to quit.
Oh, I think he did.
He did lock it down.
Well, the thing is we weren't like vile, but we felt like we were trying to wake people up. We were trying to red pill people, and his passion and emotion were probably similar to the ways ours were, just trying to wake people up. And so when Trump came along and it looked like things were going well for him during the campaign, things got positive on the show. But you're right, we can't take for granted how bad it was and now and how good it is now, and we should just be glad that we have Trump as president.
Right.
And hopefully it keeps on going.
No, absolutely. And folks, I don't know if you're on social media. Obviously, if you're watching the show on Periscope, you're on social media. But if you're on Twitter at all, follow us at Brian P. Smith, and Carrie Smith is at Smith Radio. And right there you go. They're the handles on the show. And when you're on Twitter, check it out. Look at some of the tweets that we retweet. I've retweeted multiple people this week alone that have 50,000, 100,000 followers that have said, one of them, Can't think of his, but he's a beautiful, skinny man. He's a gay man for Trump and a patriot. And he tweeted out this week, he said, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton has given me a purpose in life for helping Donald Trump make America great again, finding all the good things about America and tweeting out about them. It was just this whole thing. And I understood him. I'm like, I'm with you, bro. I absolutely understand you because what we do here on Smith Radio, not that Trump is, it's almost like Trump has pointed an arrow and said, guys, this is the way you need to be going. Go down this road. I'm going this way. This is how it's supposed to be. You guys already think this way. You guys have been saying it for years. Now I'm going to show you. Just follow me. Come down this way. I'm like, man, that's the ticket.
So are you talking about Milo, or who were you talking about? You don't remember his name? Not Milo.
No, he's real thin, real light skinned, and he's got black hair, and he's got like a widow's peak. And he almost looks like
You're not talking about is he a journalist?
He might be. I don't know. He's trying to go for that vampire look.
The only vampire gay Trump supporter I know would be Lucian Wintrich.
Oh, Lucian. No. I didn't know he was
It
a
wasn't
vampire.
Lucian. Sorry if you don't like being called that by a vampire. No, I have no. I must not know who you're talking about because I can't. It's not jogging my memory at all. So,
Oh, it'll come up. I'll find him.
Somebody that I know that I don't realize he's gay because those are the only ones that unless you're talking about like Jim Hoft or something like that.
Oh, the persistence, Scott Pressler.
I didn't know he was gay.
He tweeted it out the other day.
Oh, we met him at the Dixie.
I
Dixie
know.
Maga.
I was trying to think of his name, and I didn't want to say I met him at the Dixie Mega meetup, but
Well, and if you aren't out of the closet, sorry for outing you.
no, it's okay. But here's the thing, folks. He's got 158,000 followers, and he follows Smith Radio. I mean, that's awesome, guys. That's what he did. He tweeted out. Like a couple days ago, he tweeted it out. Anywho, and then the show icon, the picture for the show that we use today, if you guys have seen it, is a picture that Ben Garrison drew up. It has to do with Mueller and Christmas and everybody going after Trump. It says, I've got a hit list. You'd better think twice. Hillary said, you're naughty, not nice. Mueller clause is coming to town.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so he's got fake news in the back, and he's got his elves looking out a spyglass with Trump's picture in it. And I tweeted it out because I wanted to give Ben Garrison, he's at GRRR Graphics on Twitter.
Yeah.
Tweeted out because he follows Smith Radio. So
He does?
Yeah, 108,000 followers.
I didn't know
And
he followed us. That's awesome.
yeah, he only follows a few thousand people, and we are one of them. So I felt
Cool.
great about that. He's a real good patriot American, all-around American guy.
Very talented. Very talented. It's one thing to be a good artist, but his art is kind of like it exposes hypocrisy and it exposes corruption in a way that you're just not going to see in words. He does it graphically and he does it so well. So
And you're not supposed to ask an artist to do something. You just got to wait and let him do it. But I got to say it. Ben Garrison, he did a picture for Mark Dice of caricature of Mark Dice. I'm waiting for him to do one of us. Smith Radio, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on
You have
now. You still there?
Yeah, you good? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it changed up.
I'm sorry about that.
It's different.
I had to change it up because the battery's really close to dying.
Okay.
So I'm good now.
All right. Just a few more minutes. We'll wrap this up. We're going to touch on the Mueller investigation, Russia. That's why I picked this out. Eric Holder tweeted out today, in case you didn't know, speaking on behalf of the vast majority of American people, Republicans in Congress, be forewarned. Any attempt to remove Bob Mueller will not be tolerated. These are BS attacks on him, his staff, and are blatantly political, designed to hide the real wrongdoing. Country, not party.
Was that a tweet?
That is Eric Holder, the criminal.
Was it a tweet?
Yeah, it was a tweet. The tweet.
That was way too long-winded. This is exactly why they shouldn't have increased the character limit to 280. That sounded like an entire, like a long paragraph.
That was almost like Facebook.
Okay, so I responded to Eric Holder. I don't have it in front of me, but I could summarize it by saying that we aren't going to tolerate you guys trying to circumvent and usurp the will of the people who duly elected a president of the United States per our U.S. Constitution, and we are going to properly label you a traitor for doing so, and so whatever. Yeah, you notice how did he call for taking to the streets? Because I think a whole bunch of people did.
Yeah, he did in another tweet, and the only reason why I brought this up is because Dan Bongino replied with a quote. But go ahead. Oh,
What did Dan say?
Dan Bongino replied when you quote. Anyways, get on Twitter and you'll figure it out. He quoted the tweet and said, "Speaking on behalf of the vast majority of clinically insane Americans, any attempt to remove national sanity through your incessant lying and propagandizing will not be tolerated. History will remember you for nothing more than the destruction you caused. Go away."
Right. And I find it maddening. I do actually get trolled occasionally. And for him to try, the thing that trolls me is to just blatantly lie, try to hurt me or hurt the movement with dishonesty is very triggering to me.
Yes.
And when he says, speaking of the vast majority, no, you don't speak for the vast majority. So don't be lying to people like that.
Right. No, absolutely. And so Fox News broke some more news. Apparently everything Fox News does is breaking news. And Comey, let's go to, no, sorry. We'll stick with the Russia, the investigation, and the FBI. Oh, this is all wrapped up in it. Okay. Fox News, Comey edits revealed. Did you hear about this one? Remarks on the Clinton probe were watered down, documents showed. First off, in an early draft, Comey said it was reasonably likely that hostile actors gained access to Hillary Clinton's private email account. That was the first time it was written, just like that. He changed it to say that the scenario was merely possible. It was possible they did. He said originally it was reasonable.
Downgraded possible.
Right. It went from reasonably likely to possibly likely. And then language was also changed to describe the actions of Hillary Clinton and her colleagues as extremely careless, as opposed to grossly negligent. This is a key legal distinction. Senator Ron Johnson out of Wisconsin, a Republican in Wisconsin, said that this could be read as a finding of criminality in Clinton handling classified material. The edited statement deleted the reference to gross negligent, a legal threshold for mishandling classified material, and instead replaced it with an exculpatory sentence.
Right, because you don't want to actually, if you're trying to cover for her, you're going to want to try to avoid the verbatim language that violates the law verbatim, word for word. If you use the actual words, then there's no ambiguity as to whether or not she was on the right or wrong side of the law, and so he wanted to avoid that. So they literally are playing a game of semantics.
Well, that, and we also reported during the campaign that we believed that that Comey was actually it was a cry for help because
right, I forgot about that.
Because
That's
Comey
true.
didn't want to die.
Right. He, instead of coming out and saying, look, she broke the law, so we're going to go ahead and charge her, he didn't do that. And at the time he didn't do that, we thought it was because he was begging for somebody somewhere to save his life.
Right, because he said, guys, I'm going to die if you don't get me out of here.
Right.
Jokes.
To me, it sounded like he was hoping that somebody would come in and say, okay, I know you don't want to say it, but we're stepping in now, and we're going to go ahead and charge her based on everything that you said. I know you, and you know what? We're going to let you go out and publicly say, I wasn't going to charge her, but we're going to charge. But, it really was left up to him to have to do that. He later went on to say that the reason he let her off the hook was because he felt like he would have too much influence on the election, and that he felt like it was important for the voters to decide whether or not whatever she did was such a bad thing that she shouldn't be president.
Yes, he would have had an impact on the election because she would have been charged with some kind of criminal, something criminal, because she's involved in criminal acts.
This is how stupid Comey is. Are we to believe that we can do whatever the hell we want, illegally or not, just so long as we're running for president? Because it seems like you have a complete get out of jail free card as long as you're a candidate for presidency.
Or some kind of politician, unless you try and attempt to sell Obama's Senate seat and you don't have the blessings of Obama. But other than that...
Hey, Comey, you better not even dare charge me, because you know what that'll mean?
Yeah.
That'll mean that somebody's going to accuse you of trying to influence the election.
Right.
Whatever. That's ridiculous.
So this was reported by magapill.com. Folks, you've got to go to this website, magapill.com. It will load you up with the arsenal that you need when you're faced against someone infected with liberalism, because there's a lot of fact, a lot of website. They're all linked to direct websites to reference things that are going on. And the FBI releases tarmac emails. They said they didn't exist, but they have. FBI wasn't concerned, apparently, with Loretta Lynch and Clinton on the tarmac meeting. They were more concerned with the local police officer in you're the officer on a motorcycle with the whole campaign. He was riding in the escort service. I don't know where I couldn't find that word. The escort service for Loretta Lynch. They were obsessed with him because he was going to spill the beans about what's going on. So apparently the emails are exposed that they said they never had. And this is as deep as the deep state gets. This is by Catherine Heritage. She is an incredible reporter on Fox News. No nonsense kind of gal, woman. I believe she was former Marine Corps. But nonetheless, she's pretty hardcore. She's really, really great woman. She wrote this on Fox News. John McCain and the go-between. The go-between. Well, Sir Andrew Wood was the go-between between the Secret Service in Great Britain and the Trump dossier and John McCain.
Oh, no.
Yes! So she interviewed Sir Andrew Wood, and he said, my mission was essentially to I don't do a British accent. Sorry, folks. My mission was essentially...
Neither do I, so sorry, I can't read it.
Was essentially to be a go-between and a messenger to tell the senator and his assistants that such a dossier existed. And just after the U.S. presidential election in November 16, this is very important, folks. John McCain, in November, right after Trump won, John McCain spoke at a Halifax International Security Forum in Canada. And Wood said that he was instructed by the former British spy Christopher Steele to approach John McCain. And apparently Wood in this interview refers to John McCain as a good man. I don't know why, but that's how he refers to him. This Brit Wood, Andrew Wood, refers to John McCain as a good man, and he says that Steele had been in contact with the FBI throughout the entire thing, all the way back for 6, 7, 8 months. Steele is the Secret Service agent for Britain, who has been in contact with the FBI about all of this. He said that the informant, if you will, or the go-between, the Sir Andrew Wood, said that there was corroborating evidence in the U.S. from which I assumed Steele was working with an American company. Turned out to be Fusion GPS, funded by DNC, Hillary, and records reviewed by Fox News, as well as U.S. congressional testimony, revealed that Steele was directed and paid at least $168,000 by Fusion GPS, the founder, Glenn Simpson, to push the research that fall to 5 American media outlets. Okay, what does all this mean? Fusion GPS paid by the Clintons to get a fake dossier from a British spy named Christopher Steele. This is a good spy book, folks. This needs to be written and a movie needs to be made because this is a good spy movie. You can't write this. This is just life unfolding. And so they paid the British spy, Fusion GPS was paid by the Clintons. Fusion GPS was working with the British spy Christopher Steele on the fake Russian Golden Showergate dossier. Christopher Steele told a man named Andrew Wood to go hook up with Senator McCain because Andrew Wood and McCain had a relationship prior. So McCain wouldn't be, whatever. It'd be all good. Okay, so now the research was now told to be pushed to 5 American media outlets. According to British court documents, Steele met with the New York Times twice, the Washington Post twice, CNN once, the New Yorker once, and Yahoo News twice, which, Carrie, we all know those are the worst rags in American news.
Now, are you talking about he went to these different rags to try to push this dossier?
Yes.
Well, it turns out, remember that tweet I found? Before it finally got released by BuzzFeed, it had already been shopped to everybody, and one of the journalists tweeted out that who hasn't seen this dossier yet?
Okay, so here's the guy that was shopping it. The British Secret Service agent paid and in contact with the Hillary Clinton campaign, Fusion GPS, and this guy, Sir Andrew Wood, told you need to make a connection with John McCain at the Halifax International, November 2016, right as Trump was elected. And then he was told to shop it to these 5 news outlets.
And they all said no at the time. It wasn't until BuzzFeed finally said yeah.
So at each meeting that was conducted, they were all conducted in person, and a member of Fusion GPS was present at every single meeting. According to the records associated with there's a separate case. It's a civil litigation against Steele and Fusion GPS. And because that litigation is going on, this news is coming out. Like, this is information that just happens to be coming out because they're being sued. So 3 weeks after Trump won the election, details were finalized to hand off the dossier to John McCain. Folks, we're talking about the sitting senator of Arizona, John "I'm a Traitor" McCain.
One of the most senior GOP members. I mean,
I think
this is our party.
Yeah. So it was handed off. It said, okay, here's the final details. The dossier is complete. Get this to John McCain at the Canadian Security Conference, which there was another one right after this one. There's another one that happened. And so in January, John McCain officially gave the dossier to the FBI. However, they already had a copy from Steele, the British Secret Service agent. But McCain didn't know that. So this is all being sorted out, trying to find out who's who and what's what. And the story ends because information is still developing. Of note, Ronna McDaniel, Russian woman, the
honeypot.
The same Russian lobbyist who was at the Trump Tower 5 months earlier in June for a highly scrutinized meeting with Donald J. Trump Jr. Right? You remember the woman?
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't remember her name, but I just refer to her as the Russian honeypot.
Okay. According to the conference in November that John McCain originally went to, and he was approached for the first time by Wood and talked to him about the fake dossier. Apparently, she was at the conference listed in the official program. Now, Fox News tried to get a hold of using GPS for comment, tried to get a hold of John McCain's. John McCain actually had an assistant, a staffer that was also involved in a lot of this. They tried to get a hold of them. Nobody's returned any information or any comments at all to this story. However, and nobody can confirm or deny that the Russian honeypot actually talked with Wood or Steele or McCain. I just find it ironic that she's at a security conference in Canada, the same one John McCain is, same one John McCain's.
This is a giant conspiracy is what this is.
Same one
and
John
this is all, do you get to the point where the thing that makes this the biggest scandal is that this fake dossier turns out may have been the basis for the FISA warrant that ends up threatening the freedom of Michael Flynn and Manafort and probably a bunch of other people under false pretenses. And you talk about, I know Navy Jack is talking about how they won't be able to prosecute if they hold up and maintain their not guilty status, I guess, because they're not going to allow fruit from the poison tree to be submitted as evidence against them.
Right. No, you're absolutely right, 100%. And this is something, speaking of Woods, James Wood on Twitter at Real James Woods tweeted.
He lives in Vegas. I should go track him down, huh?
You need to, because nobody does that when they go to Vegas. Nobody.
I'm going to go track him down.
You'll be the first one.
I know where he goes every other night.
And so when he sees you, he's going to be like, you just want to talk? Hey, what's up, man?
No, I'll play poker with him for a little while.
Take what he's got, man. Take what he's got. So he tweeted out earlier this week, Adam Schiff, the pencil neck geek that is part of the perpetuating the fake news of the Russian dossier, Russian collusion. Adam Schiff excused himself from a closed-door House Intel Committee meeting. Ironically, minutes later, CNN broadcast contents of the meeting. Wow.
Gosh. Serious.
And then Fox News obtained text messages between ex-Mueller team member and Hillary Clinton probe guy, Peter Storks, whatever.
I think it's Stork.
There's
a Z in it.
And
I
his
think the Z is silent.
Okay, and his girlfriend Lisa Page. Strzok, yeah. And Lisa Page, 2016, they were texting back and forth. F Trump. Trump's loathsome human being. Trump is an idiot. 10,000 texts between the two of them. They wanted Kasich to win, or she wanted Kasich to win. he wanted Clinton to win, and she turned and said, I think I'm going to vote for Trump, and he blasted on her, telling her how much a fool she is. Anyhow, what do these people have to do with anything? Well, they're part of the FBI, and he, Peter Stork, was actually in charge of and part of the Hillary Clinton email scandal and the Trump Russian dossier scandal. You can't make this up. And if you did, people would be like, man, ain't nobody gonna believe that. That's not realistic.
And the sad part of it is because of how stupidly biased Hollywood is, they'll never make the movie for this.
No, and they accidentally...
The Hollywood thriller.
Right. They accidentally, unbeknownst to them, made the movie Wag the Dog.
Well, there's Wag the Dog, and I want to go revisit No Way Out with Kevin Costner and Gene Hackman.
Okay.
That was a really good one. There was it's all this DC drama with a big sitting senator and some military personnel, and there was murder and corruption, payoffs and threats, and everybody, they were threatening to arrest whoever it was that had the evidence for the murder. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, that movie's got nothing on real life when it comes to the Obama deep state,
right,
and their war against the, whoever was going to be the Republican president,
right,
if they were able to defeat Hillary, as corrupt as she is, and now here we are. And I'm telling you, this would be one hell of a thriller if anybody had the balls to actually make it. Hollywood,
they
don't. They
Yep.
don't have the courage to do it.
No, they don't.
So.
And if it just for grins, folks, if Bush would have become president, Jeb, if Ted Cruz, John Kasich, any one of these people that were candidates that were towards the top, if any of them had coincidentally, ironically, had become president, they would have been destroyed, forced to play ball. Even Ted Cruz, if Ted Cruz would have played ball, I'm telling you.
Definitely Kasich, and wasn't Lindsey Graham in the hunt for a minute?
Yeah.
I don't think Lindsey Graham ever got over 0.07% of the polling, but he was running too.
But we talked about that the reason why they run, folks, is because they actually make money. You can make millions of dollars running as a politician and never being elected. That's why they do it.
Keep the money.
Yes, keep whatever money you don't spend, you get to keep.
And guess what? Lindsey Graham didn't spend much.
No, because he wanted to keep it.
The opposite, though. Jeb Bush, he got more than any other candidate in primary history
combined.
He spent all. He left the race in debt.
Yeah.
In debt.
Yes.
Yeah, terrible.
So fake news this week, folks. Donald Trump tweeted out, wow, more than 90% of fake news media coverage is of me, and it's negative. The numerous forced retractions, the untrue stories, hence my use of social media, the only way to get the truth out, much of mainstream media has become a joke at Fox and Friends. Okay. Why did I say the word media? Funny. Because in the tweets, he tweeted out MEADIA.
What was it?
MEADIA.
Oh, he threw in an extra letter.
Right. Yeah. EDA MEADIA. And so when you Google that, media is a genus of eels in the cutthroat eel family. So maybe that's what he meant.
So he actually meant it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
So Stephen Colbert, he had something to say about that. And I just, looks like we've got broadcasting error. Connection has been closed by Periscope.
Again?
Says broadcast has been closed by the Periscope, by the server.
How long ago?
Just now.
Oh, it just now did it?
Yeah, it just showed up.
Oh my gosh. Dude, we've got to move on to YouTube Live maybe or something.
Something else, because this isn't cutting it, man. This is not. This is so damn frustrating. And I know it's frustrating for the people that watch us too. They didn't want to see this. So fucked up. Yeah. Just
so
fucked up.
Do you think it was ended because we got reported? You know what we need to start doing? We need to start having your wife man the. So real quick, you use your phone, the other phone, to broadcast, right?
No, it just to start it.
Then, so who has power to block commenters?
Oh, whose ever phone starts it. If I could get her to, I can get her to log into the account and have her start it on her own phone.
Does the phone have to be in the vicinity?
Of us? No.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. No. No.
That's so weird. How does it know to send? Wow, that's mind-boggling.
Well, not only that,
so
but the phone has actually died and shuts down, and the Periscope is still broadcasting. And the only way for me to stop it was to shut all the computers down and try to bring that phone back up. And by that time, after I turned everything off, it automatically stopped the broadcast.
Wait a minute. You're saying that that's what just happened now?
No. What happened now is completely different. What happened now was shut down by Periscope.
You need to report it and see if they say something about it. Because, I mean, does this happen to anybody else? Does Jay Sekulow get shut down?
I don't know.
I mean, you weren't even talking anything controversial.
No.
Because the last time we got shut down, we were right in the middle of a pretty juicy topic.
Right. Well, we were talking about the Russian Mueller investigation being completely false.
No, I mean, it was really controversial we were talking about race and stuff like that. We were talking about some sort of race relations topic, and all of a sudden we were shut down. So I don't know. I just assumed that a bunch of people got triggered.
I've got incredible internet speed here. I've got 250 up. Are you there? I've got 250 download speed.
It doesn't have anything to do with
I'm just saying I got 250 download speed and I've got 22 and a half upload. So
That's way more than you need.
Yeah, plenty of bandwidth. Right.
Yeah. You only need about 11 or 12 to really ensure that you could broadcast in HD. Marvetta sent a message. She's a patriotic vegan. Saw you on Periscope, then on my email was the Spreaker, then gone. Haven't seen anything come back on. Darn, you guys are on. Oh, she must be talking about the original.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the original one. Here's something we could do. We could produce the movie. We could produce the whole show in video format, and then use whatever that stupid app is that allows you to broadcast live video that you already made.
Right, I can make it look live. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we do the show from like 4 to 7, and then you make it start at 8 o'clock.
Right.
And we'll just do an 8 to 11 show, and you could just run it, and The thing is if they're able to shut it down with the comments, sure, we'll have the whole file, and we can even upload that file to YouTube if we want. But they're still shutting it down. We'll just have to go through and try to block people. Can you block somebody that was on a previous scope just by knowing their username? Or do they have to be? I feel like you can block somebody. I feel like you can block somebody without having,
without them being on the show.
After the show's over. It could be, you could go back, watch the show, see the commenters. I feel like I did that once before. I feel like somebody threatened me, said they were going to come and kill me. And somebody said, "Oh man, you better be careful. This guy's threatening you." And I as soon as the broadcast was over, I went back, found his username, and I was able to block him somehow. I was actually able to search him. But the point is that if we start to see trolls on there, or we're thinking that they're destroying our scope, we could because there's no way it's just a bunch of it's not your connection, it's not your whatever. I mean, I don't know. That's really shitty.
All right, well, let me figure out what to do.
Well, hey, did you turn off Spreaker, or did you have Spreaker on at all, or no?
Oh, wow! Everybody on Spreaker, have a good evening. You've heard the backside of the conversation.
Oh, hey, that's behind the scenes right there, baby.
That's behind the scenes, special Spreaker stuff. We will have everything ironed out by next weekend. Good night.